Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Wajahat. Now today we are going to do a beginner video. For those of you who are new to crypto or new to the space or want to learn about crypto, this is going to be the video for you. It's going to be a long video. We're going to cover pretty much everything that you need to know to get started with crypto. So yeah, sit back, relax. This is going to be a long one. You might want to grab a pen and paper, make some notes, or grab your laptop or your computer and make some notes on there, because we're going to really go in depth and cover a lot. This is something that's going to be for beginners. So for those of you who are pretty well versed in the space, you're probably better off watching some of my other videos. For those of you who are completely new to crypto, this is something that I think you are really going to benefit from. So yeah, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Wajahat. I'm a doctor, but I love crypto. I've been making content about all the things I love in the space, from NFTs to DeFi to blockchains, you name it. I've got videos on my channel. So after you've finished watching this one, you can go check some of the other content out on the channel. So yeah, how to get started with crypto. You know, crypto can be very complicated. You know, some people have even come to me recently and said, look, I really want to get started with crypto, but even your videos just go completely over my head, a bit complicated. And so that's where I got this idea from. That's where I got the idea that, you know, maybe I should make one video that basically covers everything you need to know from start to finish, so you can basically get started yourself. In today's video, we're going to cover quite a lot of stuff. We're going to cover, first of all, what is a blockchain? We're going to talk about then Bitcoin, something known as consensus mechanisms, which are really important to understand. We're then going to talk about Ethereum, smart contracts, how to buy crypto, how to store your crypto. We're going to talk about DeFi in certain applications, insurance, NFTs, and then lots of resources at the end of where you should learn from, and then kind of where to go next as well. So yeah, we have a lot to unpack here. So let's get started. Right, first of all, what is a blockchain? Now, we've heard the term blockchain many times. The easiest way for me to kind of just explain what a blockchain is essentially it's just a ledger. It's just a distributed ledger that everyone has access to. And the best way of thinking about that is like an Excel sheet. Now, imagine you have an Excel sheet, and on the Excel sheet, you know, you store data. Okay, a blockchain is essentially that. It's just somewhere that stores data, but everyone has access to this Excel sheet. So everyone has access to this blockchain. So yeah, it's a distributed ledger technology. That's literally all a blockchain is. And why is it so good? Well, number one, it's tamper proof. Number two, it gives you full transparency, it records everything that there is to know. And everyone can see this any time of the day, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And this is a great way, if you think about how money should be recorded. You know, everyone should have access to everything. All data should be recorded. This is something that you know, you can't hide really, and because of that, blockchain works really well. Now, imagine if you had a business somewhere, or imagine actually, in fact, imagine a family had a business somewhere remote in a poor economically developed country. Maybe they were farmers. They were growing some sort of fruit or vegetables. Right. Well, essentially, they want to get their product right to the end. You know, in our supermarkets, right? It's a long journey for that to happen. Those products, those fruit and vegetables, they need to go to distribution centers, packaging centers. They go from one place to another, to another, to another, to another, and eventually you end up with your fruit in your supermarket. Now, what happens is, during this journey, is that, let's say someone had 100 pieces of fruit. By the time it gets to the supermarket, there's only like 50 left, and that's because of lots of bumps and obstacles that come in the way. Sometimes there isn't even any record of what happens to this fruit. And so what a blockchain would do is that, you know, from going from the farmer to the first center, to the second center, to the third center, and so on and so forth, you could record that data, you could input that data onto a blockchain, and everyone would have access to that. So you could say that, you know, you started off with 100 pieces of fruit. By the time you went to the first center, you might only have 95. Well, everyone knows, okay, so now there was an error going from the farmer to the first center, okay? That data that can be recorded in a blockchain is why it's so valuable, because by the time you get to the supermarket, you know exactly where every single error was. That full transparency and the fact that it's not tamper-proof is what makes blockchain such a powerful technology. And it can be used for anything. This is just one example in logistics. In reality, it can be used for finance, it can be used in healthcare, it can be used pretty much in most industries that you can think of. And so because of that, it's something that can really scale with time as we really understand its power. And that's kind of where Bitcoin comes in. So Bitcoin was created by someone known as Satoshi Nakamoto over 10 years ago now. We don't actually know who the owner of Bitcoin is or who the creator of Bitcoin is. They didn't just release a white paper and just created it. Other than that, we don't really know too much about why or where or who that person is. Well, Bitcoin was created as a kind of idea that the financial system or money should be utilizing this idea of blockchain. Bitcoin has two values, or two inherent structures. Number one, it is a store of value, and number two, it is a transfer of value. Okay, why is it a store of value? Well, Bitcoin intrinsically is, you could say it's rare. You know, there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoins in existence. As of talking right now, there's probably about 19.5 or so million Bitcoin. So most of the Bitcoin is in circulation at the moment. The remaining 1.5 or so million is yet to come into circulation, but will come in circulation over the years. And the process of Bitcoin coming into circulation is called mining. Now, as I mentioned, it's a store of value, and because it's rare, you know, there's millions of millionaires in the world. In fact, I believe there's probably like 50 plus million millionaires in the world. And if every millionaire wanted one Bitcoin, they couldn't. There just isn't enough supply, and there never will be, because, as I mentioned, once something like Bitcoin is created, blockchains cannot be tampered with. So you can't change Bitcoin anymore. You could create a new version of it, but you won't be able to edit or change anything to do with the current version that we have. In the past, there have been hiccups, and therefore people have created, you know, various other kind of blockchains to kind of compete with Bitcoin. But, you know, this Bitcoin that we have today, that original blockchain hasn't actually been tampered with at all. It's a transfer of value, because with Bitcoin, you can actually transfer it from one person to another, to another, to another. It can be transferred from one entity to another. And because of that, you know, people originally thought that this was a good idea for money. You know, we've got a transparent system now. You know, if I send Bitcoin to you, the viewer who is watching this video right now, that data gets put onto that Excel sheet, that ledger that we talked about before. And then when that gets transferred to someone else, again, it gets put on that ledger. Everyone has access to it. So this is full transparency, and really a financial system should be running on something like that. Well, in my opinion, I don't think it works as well as it should do as a replacement for fiat currency. I don't personally think that it can do that. You do have things that help Bitcoin to do that, but I personally think it's better as a store of value, more akin to a digital version of gold. And gold has similar characteristics. It's rare. You know, there is somewhat a limited supply of gold. And other than that, it doesn't really do too much. Yes, you can use it as jewelry, but a lot of people just have gold blocks or gold bars and just keep them in vaults, because generally gold has good store of value. And I believe the same principles really apply to Bitcoin. It's rare, it's valuable because people believe in it. That's the reason why it's valuable. And because of that, it works well as a store of value. Now, you could argue that it's not really working too well because the prices have been going up and down, up and down, up and down. It's a new asset class, and I think with time, I would expect Bitcoin to become more stable. I mean, I'm not saying that it will be in the next 10 years or even 20 years, but I'd like to think that in 50 plus years time, Bitcoin will be a lot more stable than what it is today. So that's essentially Bitcoin. Now, how does it work? How does it kind of prove that the transaction that, you know, I did to you, how does it prove that it's valid? And it does that by miners. So it has this consensus mechanism called proof of work. Now, essentially, in order to kind of make sure that the transaction that I do to you is valid, you need someone to validate it, and those validators are known as miners. So what miners do is they use their computer's GPU or CPU to calculate complex code, algorithmic codes. And whoever the first person is to calculate a complex algorithmic code is rewarded with new Bitcoin. Remember I talked about that Bitcoin being mined? Now, in doing so, they're able to validate all of these different transactions, and that's what helps keep Bitcoin secured. You've got miners that help keep it secure, and that's essentially how proof of work works. You've got all these different people competing with one another to calculate complex algorithmic codes or algorithms or puzzles, and in doing so are able to validate the network. Now, anyone can become a Bitcoin miner, but generally you'll find that a lot of these people or companies or organizations have got warehouses full of computers, and they're combining all of that power together, because the more power, the more likely you are of getting that Bitcoin miner reward. And so as a result, it means that generally users like you and me are not really going to compete that much. We're not going to earn too much when we're mining Bitcoin or using any sort of proof of work consensus mechanism to mine any other proof of work coin. You know, Bitcoin isn't the only proof of work coin. There are many others around as well. So yeah, proof of work is also very energy intensive. As I'm sure some of you have read, Bitcoin actually uses more energy, that's because of Bitcoin mining, than some countries do as a whole per year. So there is that green energy requirement that Bitcoin needs, but I think generally it is trending towards that area as well. But yeah, Bitcoin mining, very energy intensive. You have to use hardware, and that is what helps to keep the Bitcoin network secure. So that's pretty much what proof of work is. Let's move on to proof of stake. So proof of stake is a different consensus mechanism. Essentially, because of some of the issues related to energy consumption, some of the issues related to accessibility, proof of stake is a different kind of mechanism altogether that helps again to keep networks secure. Now, Bitcoin doesn't use proof of stake, but other blockchains like Ethereum that we'll talk about shortly do. In proof of stake, users have to deposit those particular assets. So for example, if you want to stake Ethereum, well, you'll have to buy some Ethereum off the market, and what you can do is you can deposit it into a vault. Now, all of these users are called stakers, and all these stakers will have their ETH in their vault. Now, generally what happens is every few days, or a period of time which is known as an epoch, some of those vaults will get selected to validate the next block rewards, and in doing so they get rewarded with some more Ethereum, and that's essentially how that network gets secured. It's picked randomly, almost like a lottery, with all of the users who have staked that Ethereum in those vaults. Now, if a user decides that they want to publish the wrong data or malicious data, well, there's something known as slashing, and that Ethereum that they've put into their own vault can get taken away from them. That essentially is the way that users don't publish malicious data, because ultimately then they lose their stake. So proof of stake is a lot more energy efficient, 99% more energy efficient, uses a lot less energy, and it also means that users like you and me can participate in the network as well. One of the cons of proof of stake, however, is that if a user were able to obtain 51% of the network tokens, so in Ethereum's case, if a user was able to obtain 51% of all the Ethereum that is in existence and were to stake it, well, because they have a kind of monopoly or majority, they would be able to agree that their transactions are valid, and so they can publish malicious or false transactions. Similarly with Bitcoin, rather than owning 51% of Bitcoin, if someone was to own 51% of the network, proof of work mining power, which means they need to get 51% of all of the computers that are mining Bitcoin at the moment, again, they would be able to tamper with and basically attack the network. Which one is better? It's argued. Some people prefer proof of work, some people prefer proof of stake. I'll leave that for you to do your own research on and decide which one you prefer. Personally, I like the idea of proof of stake because I can participate in it. I can help secure networks, and of course I can get paid and rewarded for doing so as well. So for me, that's just my personal preference. I guess there's no right answer, it's just kind of whatever you prefer. What is Ethereum? Now, Ethereum and Bitcoin are very, very, very different. In fact, I don't even think you can really compare them. Other than the fact that they're both cryptocurrencies and both are blockchains, they operate in a very different way. Now, Ethereum used to be proof of work, but recently transitioned to proof of stake. And in my opinion, I think that makes Ethereum a much superior asset. Now, one of the main differences between Bitcoin and Ethereum is that Bitcoin, as I mentioned, has two functions: transfer of value and a store of value. Ethereum has a third function. It's programmable, so you can build applications on top of that blockchain. And those applications are called smart contracts, and we'll talk about them shortly as well. Ethereum is the #1 smart contract blockchain, and essentially that's why it's ranked number 2 behind Bitcoin in terms of its market cap. I mean, Ethereum itself is still worth over $100 billion. Bitcoin is worth probably double, I believe, on the top of my head, that double the value of Ethereum. But yeah, like I said, Ethereum's still highly valued. Now, smart contracts are essentially applications that you can build on top of a blockchain, and those smart contracts can let you do all sorts of things. Now, you remember the example that I said at the start of this video, talking about the farmer from a less economically developed country who's making their fruit, and that fruit is getting transported over to a supermarket local to you. Well, an application that you could build on top of that blockchain is you could build some sort of documentation kind of application that users could basically enter in values, and essentially you could create some sort of application around that. Well, that is something that makes Ethereum really good, and you'll see that there's lots of financial applications, but lots of other kind of applications as well that we'll talk about shortly as well. But Ethereum is programmable. That's the main point that I want to make here, that Ethereum has an extra function, it's programmable. So yeah, this is just kind of a diagram showing you kind of what a smart contract is. It's something that you can interact with and you can get something out of, usually in the form of data. And again, smart contracts, once they're created, they cannot be changed. They cannot be changed at all. Tamper-proof, and they're built on top of blockchains. So, like Ethereum, for example. There's many other blockchains that offer smart contracts. We'll talk about some of them perhaps in other videos. You can go on my channel and we'll talk about many other kind of smart contract blockchains. But today we're going to focus on Ethereum because that's the biggest one. Now, how to buy crypto? Like, how do you actually kind of get involved with these ecosystems and stuff? Well, the first way is you can go to what's known as a centralized exchange. And there's two big ones at the moment, Coinbase and Binance. What you need to do is you need to create an account with them. You'll find that you often have to send a picture of your driving license or your passport in order to kind of get access to the exchange. You'll have to create a login, usually an email and password. And once you're on there, you can basically add some of your local currency onto that exchange. So what you'll do is you'll send some currency from your bank to the exchange. Coinbase and Binance have been around for a long time. I've used both of them many times, and I think those are the main two big ones. Yes, you've got hundreds of other kind of centralized exchanges, but I think it's better to just start with the main big ones. So what you can do is, if you're someone who lives in the UK, or if you're someone who lives in America, again, take your pounds or your dollars, put them onto Coinbase or Binance, and once you've got your money on those exchanges, you can then basically exchange your fiat currency into whatever crypto you want to do, and they make it relatively easy to do that. It's quite self-explanatory, and there's lots of content on YouTube videos and things like that you can watch if you want to know how to actually do it. But yeah, it's quite easy to use. Now, you can actually get something known as a browser wallet, and these are kind of decentralized wallets. So a couple examples that I've written on screen are things like MetaMask, Rabi Wallet, Frame Wallet, Trust Wallet, there's Kepler, and there's lots of these other wallets, right? Now, a wallet is essentially a place to just store your crypto. And when I say browser wallet, essentially these are kind of like Google Chrome add-ons. So you can add them to your browser, and you can see in the picture that I've got here, these are just kind of some of the icons that I've got, and I can just click on one of these. These are all six of these are different wallets. You can click on it and it'll open up your wallet, and in that wallet you can store all your crypto. So what you can do is you can buy crypto from a centralized exchange like Coinbase or Binance, and then what you can do is you can actually transfer that to a wallet. Now, a wallet has something known as an address, and so that's kind of your way of knowing kind of whose wallet that is. And sometimes you do have to pay some small fees, so just bear that in mind. But once you've got your crypto in your wallet, you can actually interact with all those smart contracts. And we're going to really talk about smart contracts in a lot more detail later. I know I just briefly touched on them, but we're going to talk about them in a lot more detail shortly. Once you've got your crypto in your wallet, you can then interact with smart contracts. So I've written here DApps, which stands for decentralized applications. And the last way that you can actually buy crypto is via on-ramps. So there's lots of these platforms that let you give them dollars or pounds or euros or whatever currency you're using, and they'll actually just send you the crypto directly into your wallet. One of the examples is Cardo Money that I've got a video on my channel. But yeah, you can makes the process a lot more easier. But you know, I think if you're just starting out, probably just check out Coinbase and Binance, and I'd recommend getting one of these browser wallets. They're all free. You can get them from the Google Chrome store, and you can create one of these decentralized wallets. Now, I think decentralized wallets are better because you have full control, you have full access to them. When you're using a centralized exchange, you have to kind of log into them. You don't actually have full access to your coins. So there's a saying in crypto, not your keys, not your coins. Exactly, not your keys, not your coins. So you don't have the key when you're using a centralized exchange, but if you're using a browser wallet, you have the key yourself. Usually these keys are in the form of seed phrases, which are 12 to 24 different words that are specific to your account. And so I recommend checking browser wallets out for sure. I think everyone should have them. Now, when you're basically going onto a smart contract application or decentralized application, you'll find that you get this picture that says connect to wallet, and you can basically select whichever one you've got. Most of the time you'll have a browser wallet. You might have this kind of fox icon, I don't know if you can see it, which is MetaMask, or you might have any of these other wallets as well. And when doing so, you're actually able to connect your wallet to that particular application, and then you can basically interact with all of them. And again, we're going to talk about why you would want to interact with them shortly as well. So just take it as it is for now, and we'll kind of go into more detail on that. Talking about wallets, there's two main kind of wallets as well. There's a hot wallet and there's a cold wallet. Now, those browser wallets that we talked about, when you initially create one, you're going to have a hot wallet, and that's because it's connected to the internet. So it's hot because, you know, if your computer got hacked or someone was able to jump onto your computer, you know, get access essentially, well, they'll be able to access your wallet because they can just go on to Google or your browser of choice, whether that's Chrome or Brave browser or kind of any other browser. They can just click on one of those icons in the top right corner and they can just transfer that crypto out to their own wallet. So it's connected to the internet, which means there are some risks there as well. Of course, if you're safe and you don't get exploited, you've got full control, so you're okay. Cold wallets are these devices that, similar to what you can see in the picture here, this is a company called Ledger who create some of these cold wallets, but there's many other companies that do this as well. And they are essentially devices that help store your crypto on a blockchain. The crypto is not actually stored on these devices, rather these devices actually help to access your coins via the blockchain. Now, these devices do not have access to the internet, and therefore you have a wired cable connection that goes into your computer when you're using them. So if I decided to create a cold wallet, I would have to have one of these devices. Now, the good thing is that you can use your normal browser wallets like MetaMask or Rabi Wallet. You can use them with a cold device as well, so with a hardware wallet. These are also called hardware wallets. An example, I've got the box of one of the wallets that I have right here. An example is this. So you can see here, this is a Ledger Nano device. And once I connect this to my computer with the cable, I'm able to access any of the crypto that I have stored on there. If it's not connected, no one can access it. And so it's very, very good for that. Maximum safety. I think if you're using this, it's definitely very, very good. Good practice, I think. Good practice. Safety is a good practice, especially if you're taking the responsibility of owning your own coins, because that is a big responsibility. You're basically changing that responsibility from Binance or Coinbase. You're taking it on yourself. But then, if you want that extra security, then yeah, definitely having a cold wallet is better than a hot wallet. So yeah, I recommend, once you're familiar, once you've got some long-term investments, especially, that you should kind of store them on cold wallets, or one of these Ledger devices is great. And I've got a video on my channel about that as well, so go check that out too. Now we're going to talk about some of the juicy stuff, and this is where things get really interesting. So what is DeFi? Decentralized finance. Now, remember what I talked to you about smart contracts? Well, many of those kind of applications, those decentralized applications, come in the form of financial applications, and they're known as DeFi as a whole. Now, why is it even a thing? Why do we even have decentralized finance? Well, traditional finance has lots of problems. Number one, traditional finance costs a lot. If you want to send money from one country to another country, it costs a lot actually. It's not cheap. Sometimes you're paying a fair amount, sometimes in percentages as well. Secondly, it's really slow. Sometimes you might be waiting a week, 2 days, 3 days for transfers to happen. It's centralized, so banks are in control of everything. Banks want to decide what the interest rate is today, they can change it tomorrow. Banks want to decide what the lending rate is today, tomorrow they can change it. They've got full power really, because we're willing to do whatever they say. We can't change. There's no way that we can interact with them in that manner. And so because of that, it's not really a good thing here. It's not very decentralized at all, and that centralization gives them significant power. With speed, we talked about multiple middlemen as well. So if you're ever interacting with anything in the financial world, you're going to have to go through lots and lots of hoops at times. It's not as easy as just going on a website and just connecting your wallet and boom, you're in. Sometimes you have to be on the phone for an hour or two to even get through to anyone. It's just a long process at times. Access is probably one of the biggest one. And what you'll find is that in the developing world, most people don't have a bank account. Most people have no access to any sort of banking system or financial system at all. We are very privileged in the developed world that we've got applications on our phone. We can access all this stuff on the internet. It's pretty easy for us. I mean, yes, there still are problems, but it's still pretty easy. But in the developing world, there's billions of people that don't even have a bank account. Transparency, of course, we've had lots of crises in the past, banking crisis in the past. Transparency would be good, wouldn't it? Well, guess what blockchain does? It gives you full transparency. Ownership and innovations as well. So we'll talk about that in a moment. So DeFi gives access to anyone in the world. All you need is access to the internet and a wallet, and pretty much you can interact with lots of different financial applications at fractions of cost, decentralized, very, very fast, no middleman, full transparency because you're on a blockchain, complete ownership of your own assets, no one's holding it for you, you can own everything yourself. And DeFi is definitely at the forefront of innovation in my opinion. This is a way to kind of see lots of these different DeFi applications. So we talked about Ethereum and smart contracts, but all of these other applications, there's 18 on the screen, but there's many, many more. There's actually hundreds and hundreds and thousands of these applications. You can see them all here. You can see that Ethereum, according to this website, which is called DeFi Llama, has 630 different DeFi protocols on there. In fact, there's probably way more that just haven't even been registered yet. And all of these other blockchains, these are all other blockchains that offer kind of smart contract capabilities. they all have, you know, hundreds of other kind of DeFi protocols here. And if you were to click on Ethereum, you'll be able to see a list of all these different, you know, there's 630 that on this website. I can only fit 19 on the page. You can see all these different DeFi applications that are available. And all of these different applications are smart contracts, and you can interact with them by going to their platform, connecting your wallet. When you go to their platform, you'll see something like this: connect your wallet, and then you're basically able to interact with that smart contract. Okay. And they all do very different things. We've got Lido on the top, which is a liquid staking derivative of Ethereum. So we'll talk again. Some of this might go over your head, but once you actually try some of these applications out, you'll kind of get a good understanding of what they are and stuff. MakerDAO, which offers a stable coin, some lending platform. Curve, which is a decentralized exchange, allows you to swap one token for another. Aave is essentially a digital decentralized bank, offers digital lending and borrowing. Convex is a yield optimizer. Uniswap is a decentralized exchange. Compound offers lending and borrowing as well. We've got some staking derivatives there. Balancer, again, a decentralized exchange. Frax Finance offers a variety of services like Frax Swap, Frax Lend. It offers a stable coin pegged to the dollar. Rocket Pool liquid staking, you know, you've got other kind of CDPs, which are basically new stable coins. You've got derivatives, you know, Sushi Swap, which is another exchange, Synthetics, which offers synthetic assets. You've got hundreds and hundreds of these different protocols. Some of them offer insurance, some of them offer all sorts of things that you can think of, and all these different applications interact in a different way. They offer something unique, and you can basically go on them and interact with whatever kind of services they provide. Now, the interesting thing is, whenever you kind of interact with them, you are going to be paying transaction fees, and all of these applications are based on Ethereum. So guess what asset you're going to need in order to pay those transaction fees? Exactly, Ethereum. That's pretty much where its value comes from all of these hundreds and hundreds of applications that lots of people use. If you actually look on the column on the right side, you can see that the total value locked on some of these applications is in the multiple of billions. That essentially is where Ethereum gets its value from. You know, multiple billions are being transacted with, and there's so much volume on some of these applications that there's a lot of fees. And again, you're going to need Ethereum if you're going to interact with any of these applications. So let's have a look at some of them. This one is Uniswap. And essentially this allows you to swap one asset for another. So you can see here that this user had a stable coin called USDC. This is actually me that I'm doing. And if I actually wanted to exchange it in a decentralized manner within seconds, anywhere in the world, as long as I had access to the internet, yep, I could do so and basically swap it to my Ethereum if I wanted to. This is an exchange. You can basically sell one asset to another. So if you've got dollars, you can buy an asset like Ethereum directly on Uniswap, and it works very well. This is Aave. This is a decentralized bank that allows you to kind of supply various different assets, and you can borrow other assets against them, whether they're stable coins, which are assets that are pegged to the dollar. They're stable. You know, they're fantastic for people who live in high inflation countries. You know, for people who live in Argentina or Turkey, or some of these poor economically developed countries that are going through war. You know, having stable coins like this is fantastic. The bank can't stop you. You've got access to a stablecoin that's pegged to the dollar. You know, you retaining your purchasing power while your currency, your national currency, is inflating 100% a year, you know. So for those people, using something like a stablecoin is very, very, very important and very powerful. And when you're obviously using some of these financial applications, you know, you're lending or borrowing or whatever you're kind of doing, sometimes you might want to interact with something that's stable, and that's kind of why stablecoins are so important, and that's essentially why we can build such a big financial infrastructure. You know, eventually we're going to see smart contracts that enable you to get mortgages. You know, we've got banks already. It's a growing ecosystem really, and I think with time you're going to see even more functionality. Already it's a fully functioning system. You know, you've got pretty much all products you can think of already, but it's only getting better, and these are all smart contracts that are built on different applications, built on different blockchains, sorry. So that's Aave. This is GMX, again, another application. This one isn't on Ethereum, but it is on other kind of blockchains. But this is essentially, again, another exchange, this time a perpetual exchange. So you can use leverage here in order to kind of trade particular assets. Insurance. So you might be thinking, right, if I'm putting all my money into one of these applications, I'm lending on Aave, right, I need to insure my position, right? Because, this isn't approved with any sort of insurance like we have in TradFi. So you can use a variety of different insurance platforms. There's Risk Harbor as one example. There's this one as well. There's lots of different examples of insurance protocols that you can pay smaller fees for and basically get full insurance for the positions that you have. And so you can see here GMX is on the top right corner. The yearly cost for insurance is 2.6%, which sounds like it might be a lot, but in reality, when you're using GMX and earning 25% or 22% a year, it does make sense. And you can see that you can see all the payouts and things like that happen. This is all on chain, so you've got full transparency. Everything's on the blockchain. You can see it all, and yeah, I think this is a good way to protect yourself as well. Let's talk about NFTs. So NFT stands for non-fungible tokens, and I thought I'd just get this picture to basically explain the difference between something that's fungible and something that's non-fungible. So fungible items are the same; they can be traded for the same. $1 is the same as $1 that you've got. One Bitcoin I've got is the same as one Bitcoin you've got. When things are non-fungible, one house is not different. Is different to another house. This crypto kitty is different to the other one. One plane ticket is different to another plane ticket. They're non-fungible, and there's lots of use cases for these non-fungible items. They range from things like identity, having your own kind of domain name, to your profile picture, wearable fashion, games, even things like artwork, collectibles, tickets, virtual land, maybe even mortgages in the future. You've got music related stuff, DeFi, of course, social media as well. So all of these things will offer actually non-fungible tokens at the moment, and NFTs really are used a lot in some of these industries. So yeah, one of the good things about NFTs, or what actually are they? Well, they're not actually images, and if I have an NFT of this crypto kitty, the NFT isn't actually like that cat. The NFT is just a digital contract of authorization that basically tells me that I am the owner of this particular NFT. It's just a digital contract. Just basically helps to prove ownership. That's all it is. And so that's why it's so powerful, because if you're able to prove ownership of certain assets, whether that's a mortgage, a luxury item, a house, a ticket, you can help to stop lots of problems, whether that's fraud, whether that's making fake copies, whether copyright, all sorts of kind of issues that might relate with anything really, and just having full control of being the owner, being able to prove that you're the owner of something, again, makes it very important. So if you're on Twitter and you want to prove that you are the owner of your kind of picture, your profile picture, well, you can have an NFT, and now you can go on Twitter and you can have your NFT verified. You're able to prove that you're the owner of your profile picture. If you let's have a look at some of these other options. If you're on a social media platform, right? In the future, there will be decentralized social media platforms, and you can mint an NFT that proves that you're the profile owner. And when you go to other kind of decentralized social media platforms, you could probably use that same NFT around. You won't have to make new login details. When you're playing certain games, you might want to have your character, or maybe a character that you've purchased, maybe in-game items even. You might want to have them as NFTs so that you can sell them on later on. You might want to be able to prove that you've been able to achieve a certain thing, and having that in NFT form helps you to prove that. Whether that's collectibles as well. You know, you might want to prove that you're the owner of a specific piece of artwork or collectible item. NFTs help you do that. And so there's lots and lots of use cases here. These are just some of them, really. There's many, many more. You could use NFTs as like even a ticket, you know, that gives you access to certain things. Maybe you get access to a restaurant if you hold the NFT, and by having the NFT you can prove that you're the correct owner of it. Could be like the equivalent of a black card that we have nowadays. So yeah, there's lots and lots of use cases for NFTs, and NFTs I think are a growing industry. I think it's proven that they've got plenty of use cases. For anyone who says they don't, you know, you just need to research them a little bit more. Of course, at times there are speculation, and that's often why you find some of these NFTs go up significantly in value. I think intrinsically, NFTs have quite a significant use case. Now, marketplaces, you know, where do you even check out NFTs from? Well, there's a few that I've written on screen: Blur, Uniswap, OpenSea, X2Y2, LooksRare. These are just different exchanges or marketplaces that you can go to buy and sell NFTs. Again, NFTs are just tokens, so they will go directly in your wallet. So we can go back here. Your browser wallet, your MetaMask, Rabi wallet, Frame wallet, you can store your NFTs there because they're just like tokens, just like cryptocurrencies and crypto tokens. NFTs again are tokens, and they can go directly in your wallet. You can store them there. Again, you can store them on cold wallets as well. So if you've got a really valuable NFT, maybe you've got the contract that basically gives you ownership to your mortgage or gives you ownership to a specific item. Maybe it gives you ownership or access to specific events. Which is what I have. I've got NFTs that give me access to certain events. Well, yeah, you might want to keep them safe, so you can just put them on your Ledger device as well. So they're just tokens like that. Again, just go check out some of those exchanges. Again, just connect your wallet and you can basically access them all. Oh, I keep mentioning the blockchain, right? So this full transparent database that everyone can see. Well, how do you access it? Well, again, this is the Ethereum blockchain. You can access it going to Etherscan. And this is just one random person's wallet. I think it's someone famous actually. And so, you know, I can see all the different transactions, everything they're interacting with all here. You know, I can see they're transferring, what time, you know, what address it was from, where it's going to, the value of it. I can see all this data. I can see exactly what tokens this wallet is holding. There's so much valuable information that you can get from a blockchain, and this ledger is available for everyone to have access to. And that's why I think blockchains are so important. You know, if you've got a bank that's transacting data or transacting like large volume, for example, you might want to see, you know, where's this money going to? If you've got a government sending $1 billion to another country, you know, where's it going to? Again, a blockchain helps you because everyone will have access to that. Everyone will be able to see it, and because of that, it's very, very powerful. Resources are a very important thing that you should now take on board if you want to kind of develop your learning further. You know, so we've talked about a lot of things already. Bitcoin, proof of work, proof of stake, Ethereum, smart contracts, DeFi, wallets, cold wallets, you know, hot wallets, NFTs even, how to interact with some of them. So there's a lot of information here, and you are going to want to develop that further. And so what I recommend is actually going on to places like YouTube or Twitter and just kind of reading more about some of those topics. Crypto is predominantly on 3 different social medias: Twitter, Discord, Telegram, and probably YouTube as well. That's pretty much where you're going to find most of the creators, most of the content. You'll find that a lot of these big creators use newsletters, which I really do like as well. So yeah, go read some of their newsletters. You'll find a lot of information there. Now, there are some websites that I think you should definitely go check out. CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, which essentially give you a list of all the different cryptocurrencies there are in existence. You can see their price, you can see their market cap, you can see their supply, you can see what the point of them is. Etherscan, which is the Ethereum blockchain explorer, and all these other blockchains have their own explorers as well, so definitely go check them out. DeFi Llama is the best place to go to learn about everything related to DeFi, all those different protocols and different D-apps or decentralized applications. You can see them all there, kind of what they do, what they offer, learn about them and how you can interact with them. Dune Analytics is a great place to see data in the form of bar charts and pie charts and graphs. So definitely recommend that. Token Terminal as well, a good place to learn about different protocols and blockchains and how much revenue they're earning. And Dex Screen and Dex Tools is a good place to look for kind of new kind of cryptocurrencies as well. So you know, in your own time, go research some of them as well, and you'll find that they are very valuable. Yeah, so overall we've covered quite a lot. Again, this is just an intro. You know, I could easily create 1 hour long videos going over each of the different things that we covered. There's so much to unpack really. But yeah, closing remarks really, I just wanted to say, take your time. Like, crypto took me months and months and months to even get my head around to begin with. It took me a long time, and I really had to put a lot of effort in. So you know, if that happens to you, that's normal. I've got my YouTube channel, which has lots of different content on there. I post a lot on Twitter, so definitely follow my crypto Twitter account. And I even have a newsletter as well where I publish articles regularly. Those articles will go directly into your email, so go and click the link in the description and subscribe. It's free as well, you know. All the content that I make at the moment is free, so I hope that you can find some of that valuable. Like I said before, you just need to spend a lot of time covering those core concepts. With time, you're going to find that there's even more concepts to cover afterwards. And, you know, we haven't even touched upon many other kind of topics, especially with DeFi, different blockchains, different crypto assets, and kind of what their use cases are. We didn't even touch upon layer 1s or layer 2s. There's so many other kind of concepts to kind of cover, but this video is all about the basics really. And I hope that I've just touched upon them and given you an overview of what they all are. Hopefully I've explained it well. If there is anything that I haven't explained well, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll try and explain a little better. Like I said, I can go in a lot more detail as well, so if you want videos on any specific topic, I'll try and do my best. But for the time being, this is pretty much the best thing that you're going to learn from. So hope that helped. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and of course I'll be back with another video soon.